There's a quiet strength in those who take their time. The world celebrates early success, the prodigies, the overnight millionaires, the young achievers whose stories flash across our screens. But what about those who arrive late? The ones who take longer to find their path, who stumble and learn and begin again. Too often, they are overlooked until the moment they rise above all expectations. The truth is, late bloomers are not behind. They are simply growing at their own natural pace. A tree that blooms later in the season still bears fruit, often sweeter, stronger, and more enduring than the rest. Success is not a race. It's a journey of discovery, patience, and persistence. The late bloomer understands that the foundation must come before the flourish. They are not rushing to impress the world. They are preparing to last within it. When you take your time to grow, you learn the deeper lessons. The ones that can't be rushed or taught overnight. You learn the meaning of failure, the value of consistency, and the power of quiet endurance. You begin to understand that everything meaningful in life takes time, mastery, wisdom, peace, confidence. The late bloomer's strength lies in maturity, the kind that comes from experience, reflection, and perseverance. They are not motivated by competition, but by clarity. They know that the right timing is their timing, not the world's. So if you've ever felt like you're falling behind, remember this: you are not late. You are being prepared. The right opportunities appear when your roots are deep enough to hold them. Growth may be slow, but it is certain. Those who take longer to bloom often create something far greater than instant success. They build something real, something lasting, something that truly matters. There's a quiet power in those who take their time. In a world that glorifies instant achievement, where speed is mistaken for progress and youth for brilliance, we often forget that some of the greatest victories come to those who bloom late. The ones who walk at their own pace, who take years to understand their direction, who are often misunderstood or overlooked until the world suddenly realizes how far they've come. These are the true winners, not because they arrive early, but because they arrive fully formed, deeply rooted and unshakably prepared. The journey of a late bloomer is not easy. It's marked by doubt, by moments of feeling left behind, by seeing others move ahead while you still search for your path. But that search, that struggle, is where the foundation of true greatness is built. While others rush to the finish line, the late bloomer is still learning the terrain. They stumble, they fall, they start again, and in that process they build endurance that no shortcut can provide. They are not wasting time. They are mastering it. They are growing slowly but with purpose. Every late bloomer understands what it means to grow without applause. They know what it feels like to work in silence, to dream when no one else believes, to build when the results aren't visible yet. But that is exactly why their success, when it comes, carries a depth that instant victories never reach. Because they have lived through the seasons of waiting, they have developed patience, character, and a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken by external noise. The late bloomer learns to listen to life. They realize that everything unfolds at the right time and that growth cannot be forced. Flowers that bloom too early wither before the season ends. The ones that wait, that soak in the sunlight a little longer, that allow their roots to deepen, those are the ones that stand the test of time. The same truth applies to people. The longer the preparation, the stronger the rise. When success finally arrives for the late bloomer, it doesn't surprise them. It feels natural, inevitable, earned. They have spent years understanding who they are and what they truly want. They don't chase trends or validation because they've already built something unbreakable within. They know their timing is not the world's timing. They trust their season, and that faith is what sets them apart. Being a late bloomer means embracing the process, not resenting it. It means realizing that comparison is the thief of growth. Everyone blooms differently, and those who take longer often bloom brighter. It's not about speed, it's about depth. It's not about being first, it's about being lasting. The late bloomer doesn't rush to prove themselves. They wait until they are ready, and when they rise, their impact endures far beyond those who burned out chasing recognition. There is wisdom in delay. There is beauty in taking time. Every great oak was once a seed that refused to sprout overnight. Every masterpiece took years of unseen effort before the world admired it. The same is true for those who seem to bloom late. They are not behind, they are in the making. Each experience, each lesson, each moment of struggle is part of the masterpiece forming beneath the surface. And when the world finally sees them, it's not just their success that shines, it's their story. The story of resilience, patience, and faith in one's own timing. They win not because they were fast, but because they were steady. They win because they never gave up when the world told them they were late. They win because they understood that greatness is never early. It's only ever right on time. Every person's path unfolds differently, and yet we live in a time where comparison has become the standard by which we measure our worth. We look at those who seem to have achieved everything early in life and wonder if we've missed our chance. But what most people don't see is that early success doesn't guarantee lasting fulfillment. The late bloomer, on the other hand, learns to appreciate the journey itself. They take the winding road, they learn from detours, they gather wisdom along the way. While the world rushes ahead, they build a foundation so deep that when they finally rise, nothing can move them. The beauty of blooming late is that it teaches humility and self-awareness. It strips away the illusion of instant gratification and replaces it with patience and purpose. Late bloomers grow through trial, reflection, and quiet perseverance. They are not distracted by the noise of urgency. They are grounded in the rhythm of growth. The lessons they learned during those years of waiting shape them into people of substance. They develop a kind of inner calm that can't be learned from success alone, because they've already been tested in silence. There's a certain wisdom in those who take longer to find their place. They don't mistake speed for progress or recognition for value. Instead, they learn to define success on their own terms. They understand that what matters most isn't how quickly you reach your goal, but how deeply you've prepared for it. The late bloomer doesn't bloom by accident. Their growth is deliberate. It's nurtured by time, by introspection, by mistakes that turn into lessons, and by patience that turns into power. While others may appear to be racing ahead, the late bloomer learns that real success can't be rushed. They understand that a tree doesn't bear fruit the moment it's planted. It must first grow roots that can sustain the weight of its branches. That unseen growth, that invisible work, is where strength is built. The late bloomer spends years developing the qualities that make success meaningful: resilience, emotional intelligence, clarity, and self-trust. These are the attributes that allow them not just to succeed, but to remain successful. Every late bloomer carries within them a quiet conviction that time is not their enemy. They know that the world's timeline is an illusion, and that every person blooms in their own season. When the time is right, their preparation meets opportunity, and what seemed like delay suddenly makes perfect sense. They have the courage to move when others have already stopped trying. They keep going not because the world believes in them, but because they've learned to believe in themselves. And that belief changes everything. When a late bloomer finally steps into their power, they are not the same as they were at the beginning. They are stronger, more focused, and more grateful. They no longer chase approval, they build legacy. They understand that every struggle was necessary, every failure was a lesson, and every delay was a part of the design. The late bloomer's journey is proof that timing is not universal. What's early for one person may be premature for another. There's no such thing as being behind when your purpose hasn't yet unfolded. Every season has its reason. The late bloomer doesn't resist the waiting, they embrace it. They trust that when their moment arrives, it will be worth every second of the struggle. So if your journey feels slow, if it seems like others are passing you by, remember that growth happens in silence. Success doesn't always announce itself early. Sometimes it waits until you've learned everything you need to know. And when you finally bloom, the world will understand that the delay was never a setback. It was preparation for something greater. There is something extraordinary about those who bloom later in life, something that cannot be measured by how soon they succeed, but by how deeply they grow. Late bloomers live through seasons of quiet work, unseen effort, and endless self-discovery. While others may appear to move faster, they move with intention. They take the time to understand who they are, what they stand for, and what truly matters. That time spent in the shadows is not wasted. It is sacred. It is where character is formed, resilience is built, and purpose begins to take shape. Most people rush towards success as if it were a finish line, believing that arriving first is the same as arriving fulfilled. But late bloomers know better. They understand that the race isn't to the swift, it's to the steady. They don't chase quick wins or instant recognition because they know that what's built quickly often fades just as fast. Their journey is slower, quieter, and far more deliberate. They build their dreams brick by brick, each one placed with care and understanding. By the time they arrive, they've built something that can't be taken away by time or circumstance. There's a certain peace that comes with growing at your own pace. Late bloomers learn to silence the noise of comparison, to stop measuring their progress against someone else's highlight reel. They stop asking, when will it happen for me? And begin trusting that it will happen when they are ready. The years that others call delay are in truth a period of preparation. Every challenge faced, every failure endured, every moment of doubt, all of it strengthens them for the success that's coming. While early bloomers often experience their victories under the spotlight, late bloomers cultivate strength in the dark. They learn to believe in themselves long before the world notices. They grow roots that go deep, roots that can withstand the storms of life. Because of this, When their time finally arrives, they don't just experience success, they sustain it. They've already learned how to endure struggle, how to adapt, and how to remain humble through it all. That's what makes their growth so powerful and their triumph so enduring. Every late bloomer carries a quiet confidence that their journey has meaning. They are not in a hurry because they understand that time spent learning is never time wasted. They observe, reflect, and evolve. They take detours, but each one adds to their wisdom. They start again, but each restart comes with more experience. By the time their bloom appears, it's not the fragile kind that wilts in the heat of attention. It's strong, beautiful, and lasting because it grew slowly, intentionally, and with care. There is a profound difference between reaching success and being ready for it. The late bloomer's greatest strength is that they become prepared long before they are recognized. They have learned the lessons that early success often skips: patience, humility, and gratitude. They appreciate every small step forward because they remember what it felt like to wait. That gratitude gives them grace, and that grace gives them power. The late bloomer's timing is never wrong. Life unfolds differently for everyone, and those who take longer often achieve something deeper. They may not follow the same schedule as the rest of the world, but their journey has its own rhythm, its own beauty, its own purpose. The late bloomer doesn't arrive when the world expects them to. They arrive when their soul is ready. And when they do, it's not a sudden burst of luck or coincidence. It's the natural result of years of unseen growth, quiet endurance, and unwavering faith in their own becoming. The world has a way of making us believe that success has an expiration date, that if we haven't achieved something by a certain age, we've somehow failed. But the truth is, greatness doesn't follow a schedule. It unfolds at its own pace, and those who learn to trust that timing often discover a depth of success that others never reach. The late bloomer understands that the real work happens long before the reward. They spend years building the kind of strength that doesn't crumble when tested. They grow slowly, but each step forward carries weight and meaning. Their rise may not be loud, but it is lasting. There is something powerful about taking your time. In a society obsessed with speed, slowing down becomes an act of wisdom. The late bloomer knows that growth can't be rushed, that maturity can't be forced, and that true fulfillment isn't found in shortcuts. While others chase what's fast and easy, they build something real. They embrace the silence, the waiting, the seasons where nothing seems to be happening, because they know that beneath the surface everything is. The roots are spreading. The foundation is forming. The bloom will come when it's ready, not when the world demands it. The late bloomer's journey is one of trust. Trust in themselves, trust in their process, and trust that the timing of their life is exactly as it should be. They've faced doubt both from others and from within. They've seen peers succeed sooner. They've felt the sting of being underestimated. But they've kept going anyway, because somewhere deep inside they know that comparison is an illusion. They understand that everyone's path is different, and that their story doesn't lose value because it takes longer to unfold. They're not chasing someone else's timeline, they're honoring their own. Every late bloomer learns that growth is rarely visible from the outside. The most important changes happen within. It's in the countless moments of reflection, the failures that teach humility, the long nights of persistence, the quiet mornings of renewed focus. That invisible work is what prepares them for visible success. When the world finally sees them, they appear ready, composed, and capable. But it's not sudden. It's the result of years of invisible effort, of choosing to stay consistent even when nothing seemed to move. That's why their success feels so natural, so grounded, so enduring. The beauty of blooming late is that it comes with perspective. The late bloomer doesn't just succeed, they understand what success means. They've had time to define it for themselves. They no longer chase validation or external praise because they've already found fulfillment in the process. Their happiness is not built on applause, it's built on alignment. They don't just want to achieve, they want to create meaning. They want to live with purpose, not pressure. What sets late bloomers apart is that they grow into who they truly are, not who the world tells them to be. Their journey isn't shaped by comparison, it's shaped by authenticity. They've learned to embrace their individuality and trust their instincts. They understand that being different isn't a disadvantage, it's their greatest strength. Every delay, every detour, every moment of doubt adds depth to their story. When they finally reach their bloom, it's not just an achievement, it's a transformation. The late bloomer proves that timing doesn't define greatness. Preparation does. The years of waiting weren't wasted, they were essential. Every challenge became training, every pause became growth, every failure became wisdom. They rise not in haste, but in harmony with their own purpose. And when their season arrives, they don't bloom to catch up. They bloom to stand out. There is a certain quiet strength found in those who take the longer road. The late bloomer moves through life not in bursts of speed, but in steady, deliberate steps. They are not in a race with anyone else. They are simply becoming who they are meant to be. The world may overlook them at first, mistaking their patience for hesitation, their silence for uncertainty. But within that calm exterior lies an unwavering determination. They know that the time spent learning, growing, and understanding will one day separate them from the rest, because the late bloomer isn't trying to arrive quickly. They're preparing to arrive completely. The early stages of their journey often feel lonely. It can be painful to see others reach milestones you haven't yet touched. The world loves to celebrate early achievement and instant success, rarely recognizing the value of slow progress. But the late bloomer doesn't give up even when recognition doesn't come. They learn to find satisfaction in the work itself. Each failure becomes a lesson. Each setback becomes a teacher. They gather strength quietly, letting experience shape them into something solid. By the time their moment comes, they aren't just ready. They're unshakable. The process of blooming late demands resilience. It requires faith in the unseen and belief in one's own timing. While others chase quick wins, the late bloomer chooses growth that lasts. They've learned to endure the seasons of waiting without losing heart. They've learned that the soil must be rich before anything can truly grow. The delay isn't a punishment, it's preparation. And that understanding gives them peace, because they know that when they finally do bloom, it won't be temporary. It will be the kind of success that stands through time. What the late bloomer discovers along the way is depth. They see life through layers of understanding that only experience can provide. They appreciate small victories because they know what it feels like to wait for them. They move with empathy because they've felt the weight of patience. They succeed with humility because they've known what it's like to be overlooked. That depth gives their achievements a richness that can't be imitated. Their growth isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving to themselves that persistence pays off. The late bloomer also understands that comparison steals joy. They learn to focus on their own journey, to celebrate progress no matter how slow. Each day becomes a step toward becoming, not competing. They understand that time is not running out. It's unfolding. They realize that what's meant for them cannot be missed if they keep moving forward. That simple truth becomes their power. They stop rushing. They stop worrying about how long it takes. They begin to trust that the same timing that delayed their bloom will also perfect it. There is wisdom in arriving later. When success finally finds the late bloomer, it finds someone who is ready to handle it. Someone who has already faced rejection, learned discipline, and built character in the quiet years. They don't crumble under pressure because they've been through storms before. They don't lose themselves in the spotlight because they've already discovered who they are in the dark. Their timing has given them balance, and their patience has given them strength. Life has its own seasons, and each person's season is different. The late bloomer doesn't resist their timing. They grow into it. They understand that the years of waiting are not empty. They are filled with purpose. Every struggle, every delay, every unanswered question adds to their becoming. And when they finally step into their moment, it's not just success they find. It's peace, fulfillment, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that they have truly earned their bloom. The beauty of blooming late lies in the unseen journey that leads there. The late bloomer often walks a path filled with questions, doubts, and moments of solitude. They watch others rise quickly, wondering when their own turn will come. Yet something inside them whispers that their story is different. They are not meant to follow the crowd. They are meant to grow in silence, to develop depth before display, to strengthen their roots before showing their petals. Their timeline isn't a mistake. It's their masterpiece unfolding in perfect rhythm with who they are becoming. Every late bloomer learns that growth cannot be rushed. They come to understand that success built too soon often collapses under its own weight, while what takes time becomes unshakable. They learn patience not by choice but by necessity. Life teaches them through delay. Each season of waiting becomes a classroom, each disappointment a lesson, each setback a redirection. While others chase instant recognition, they are slowly becoming people of depth, people who can handle the weight of their dreams. The world may not see their progress, but within, transformation is happening quietly and steadily. Late bloomers have a unique kind of resilience. They have faced the silence of being unnoticed, the pain of being underestimated, the loneliness of walking alone. But through it all, they develop strength that does not need validation. They stop waiting for applause and start moving for purpose. Their strength is quiet, but it is enduring. Their growth is invisible, but it is certain. And when they finally emerge, it is not as someone who stumbled upon success. It is as someone who built it from within. The gift of blooming late is perspective. Those who take their time learn to value process over perfection. They understand that the true reward of the journey is not the destination, but the person they become along the way. They no longer seek shortcuts because they know the value of the long path. They have seen what rushing costs: the loss of depth, the sacrifice of authenticity, the erosion of self-awareness. The late bloomer learns to guard their energy, to focus on what matters, to choose quality over speed. They may move slower, but every move carries intention. When the moment of recognition finally arrives, it comes as no surprise. The late bloomer doesn't marvel at their own success. They recognize it as the natural outcome of years of quiet effort. Their confidence is calm, not loud. Their success feels steady, not sudden. Because they've already walked through doubt, failure, and uncertainty, they have nothing left to prove. They don't depend on approval, because their worth was built in the waiting. The late bloomer's power comes from knowing that their time was never wasted. It was preparation for this very moment. The late bloomer's journey teaches an essential truth: that life does not run on one universal clock. Everyone grows in their own season. What seems like delay is often protection. What feels like waiting is often growth. The universe waits until you are strong enough, wise enough, and grounded enough to handle what you've asked for. The late bloomer learns this truth firsthand. They stop resenting the wait and start respecting it. They begin to understand that slow growth is still growth, and that the best things in life take time to mature. When they finally step into their bloom, it isn't a sudden transformation. It's the revelation of what has been growing all along. Every hardship, every quiet effort, every lonely night contributed to their becoming, and though they took longer to arrive, their presence is weight. They move with grace, with gratitude, with quiet certainty. They do not burn out. They rise and remain, because their roots were built in patience. Their growth will endure through every season that follows.